What's up, guys? Compound Coalition. I'm here with Chris Weatherman, Angry American.
What's up, brother?
Man, I knew Angry American, but I didn't know Chris Weatherman until recently. I've known Angry American for a long, long time.
Yeah. Well, they're pretty much the same guy for the most part. I mean,
Yeah.
there's not a lot of separation there. So.
Which character are you?
You'd have to be Morgan if you're going to say something like that, because it's all told from his perspective. So.
Is that Mel over there?
Oh, that's the Mel. That's the Mel. She's way cooler in real life, though.
Can you bring the mini-me in? I wish too. So, what'd you do before you wrote books?
So, by trade, I'm a heavy industrial electrician.
What is that?
So, high voltage. I was certified at 30,000 volts. I built power plants, refineries, coal mines, stuff
Did you
like
that?
Oh, I loved it.
Did you grow up wanting to be that?
No, I grew up wanting to be a Marine. Did that to start with.
Okay.
And I got dropped out of training. I got misdiagnosed with an eye condition I don't possess.
Exactly.
And I even got a naval eye doctor at the time to admit that, but I still got discharged.
What were you going to be?
Because of my ASVAB scores and my grades at the time, they wouldn't give me a combat arms MOS. And so I had to go into an aviation MOS. But the Marine Corps were the only ones that they put in my contract that I could go to selection for recon. Nobody else
Okay.
could do it. X-ray program didn't exist for the Army.
Right,
back then.
right.
But I did have that in my contract that I was going to go to selection for recon, because that's what I wanted, was combat MOS.
Got it.
So, But everything works out for a reason. Everything happens when it's supposed to. And
So how long did you do the industrial electrician stuff?
20 years.
Did you ever dabble in writing at all?
Yeah, actually I did. I wrote a story years and years ago, probably back in when the internet was real new. There were just, like boards you could post on and stuff like that.
Frugal Squirrels.
Yeah,
and
Frugal Squirrel.
Prepper.net
Exactly. And so there was a writing forum like that, and I was writing a story on that forum, or on that board, about a terrorist attack on the Mall of America.
Okay.
And I was coming home from work one day, and I stopped at a Barnes & Noble, because, bookstores are still cool back then. And
I think they still are.
I
go in them when I see them.
I like them too, but no one uses them anymore. So, but I was at the magazine rack, and I picked up the Atlantic Monthly, and I was thumbing through it, and this story there caught my eye, and I started reading it, and I'm like, this is legitimately the story that I'm writing
right now.
It's identical. And so I bought the magazine, and I run home to log on, and I was going to look at it, and I couldn't log on, and it was like trying to get in, password, none of that worked. I emailed them. They're like, you don't have an account.
What the fuck?
It was gone.
So it actually was your
It was
story.
plagiarized. But and I can't remember who it was at the time. It was a very prominent right-wing writer that did it, and that just blew my mind.
So nice.
And so I didn't write or even think about writing anything for years.
I wonder how much of that happens looking at the survival forums on ARFCOM and stuff, because guys were putting it like I read Lights Out page by page.
Mm-hmm.
Like I had to print it out. Like we were,
Oh yeah,
correcting
Crawford, I had
it.
too.
And,
yeah.
And when I reached out to David, I'm like, hey man, I just like your shit. I want to send you something.
Yeah.
I don't want anything. I don't expect anything.
Yeah.
And he came immediately when he got it. He's like, holy shit, this is so awesome. I love this. I'm like, man, come out to Tennessee. And he did. He's like, okay. I'm like, you won't come. Like, I say that to 1,000 people, maybe one. And he showed up, and here's David Crawford.
Yeah.
And
And he's such a cool guy, too. He's such a nice. We're trying to get him right now. My manager and me are trying to get him to do an audio version.
God, I wish.
Of Lights Out.
Yeah.
I'm like, man, it'll make you a fortune, because it's so popular. People love the story, and I'm like, you get a good audio version.
I saw the bug out pop up on audio on YouTube.
Yeah.
The short,
Yeah. Well, you got to watch YouTube, because my books are probably there. My audio books are probably there, because I have to file the take, because my publisher won't do the takedowns. Yep. I have to do it.
Why is Unintended Consequences not on audio someplace other than a guy reading it on YouTube?
Have you read Unintended Consequences?
No.
Well, that's why it's not on audio.
So they're scared of it. They're worried about it?
No. It's such a hard thing to read, dude.
Got it.
The book had a good purpose at the time. The execution, in my opinion, was bad.
Okay.
From a writer's perspective now. Because, he's got that fetish for 44 mags in that book. And every time somebody picks one up, you're going to know the serial number and what grain bullets in it, how many grains of powder.
Becoming Collapse, yeah.
But over the top. So much over the top. I read it, and I have a copy. It's actually sitting on the floor in my office right now. I'll never crack the cover of that book again. I didn't even finish it all. I think I had this much. It's like that thick.
Jaeger put 120 in the library up here.
120 copies?
Copies of it. We can't find a single one.
Are you serious?
Swear to God.
You know what they're worth, too?
Yeah.
Yeah, they're worth money.
Yeah.
I don't know why.
Yeah.
We found them someone contacted me like, hey man, he goes, I found like 10 copies of Unintended Consequences at this website. And he sent it to me, and they were like $45.
Were they shippable? Did
Yeah,
they have them?
I bought them.
Oh, nice.
I bought them.
Nice.
Yeah, we got them, and then
Badass.
I passed them out. And I know you want to read it. I know you want to read it. So yeah, but I still got one laying on the floor at the office.
Yeah.
But yeah.
So what's your day-to-day life look like?
The life of a writer, man. You know, sometimes I stay up and work late, so I sleep late. Sometimes I get up early. It just depends on the day. But I try to do social media stuff in the morning because I'm bad at it. I'm terrible at answering my messages and looking at posts, and so I have to try to force myself to sit down and do that. And I like to write for a couple hours at a time, and then take a break and do something else.
Do you ever have to? Like, you have a deadline or anything ever?
We've learned that those are useless.
Okay.
If you give me a deadline, I'm gonna miss it.
Yeah,
So
yeah.
that's a sure way to guarantee I don't get there.
Yeah, I'm gonna start putting the fire out when the house is burnt down.
Exactly. Yeah. It's not gonna. If you give me a deadline, I'm gonna just smoke right past it. And never hit it.
Does your office smell of rich mahogany and mini leather-bound books?
Yeah. A little spilt bourbon and beer. A little spilt beer in my office.
So writing's on a laptop now?
Yeah. I use my laptop, but I've got so my office is in my camper.
Okay.
Even at home, my office is my camper. And so I've got dual monitors up there in a dock for the laptop. Dock that thing, sit there and work. I've got everything I need.
You Apple or Windows guy?
Windows, man.
Yeah.
Microsoft Surface laptops.
Man, I am the holdup in my whole team. Like, I'll have a file that they can't give to me. It has to it airdrops to my wife, and I got to do 12 moves to get into my phone. I am the holdup.
Yeah. Well, I don't iPhone, and I never will. I'm not an iPhone person. I understand. Microsoft is no better, but Apple, I'm not an Apple guy.
I'm with you 100%. I got a Samsung here, but there's 50 Apple pieces in here.
I'm sure there are. And like Mel had an iPhone, and I finally got her to switch back to a Samsung, and she hates it because iPhones are for
communists.
Simple-minded folks. Let's put it that way. They're, you don't have to be real smart to use an iPhone. Samsung's, you got to be a little brighter.
So some days it just flows, and some days you sit down. Like, I know when I want to build something, I'm like, okay, I'm going to do this thing, and I sit down, and I'm like, it is not in here today.
Oh yeah, no. Some days are absolutely like that. You'll sit down in front of the keyboard, and all right, you'll pull that thing up and start looking at it, and you'll be like, and I got fucking nothing. And I learned not to sit there and try to force it to happen because it's just not gonna. And you're gonna make things worse.
Do you go back and read like a couple paragraphs back and then rewrite that whole shit?
Yeah. Well, I'm a one and done writer, believe it or not. I'm a one pass guy. I write it once because I learned over the years that going back and I'm gonna make this better. I just go in there and muddy
These
it
guys
up.
would. He's a script writer, right? A movie guy.
Yeah.
He'll write me a script, and we're never gonna get it better than the first take, and it's completely fucked up the first time, but it's only getting worse.
Exactly. That's it. And so, because like I'll talk to people and they're like, "Oh, I'm writing a book. I'm on my 8th pass," and I'm like, "Why? What do you do? Why?"
Yeah.
I'm like, if you don't have any faith in it, how do you expect readers to? So you got to be like, "No, this is it. It's good."
So do you have a publisher?
No, I self-publish.
Okay.
Now. Well, for audio, I do. So Podium Publishing, they've always got like the #1 audiobook.
Who's your reader?
Duke Fontaine.
Duke Fontaine. Have you ever met him?
Fontaine. No.
Does he look like he sounds?
No, he does not look like he sounds.
Like, if you're going to do it, you have to have, there's like 2 dudes. There's him and I don't remember the other guy, but there's like anything else.
Yeah.
It's like I cannot listen to women.
Oh, a narrator? Yeah.
No, I can't.
Yeah.
Maybe if it's even if it's a female character, I can't listen
Still
to
can't do it?
Nope.
He does a great job, but see, he's a not uber liberal, but he's a Hollywood actor.
But he's better. It's 556. It's NVG now, right?
Oh, yeah.
He at least knows
we've had
what
some conversations.
Yeah.
So he uses the Duke Fontaine name because if Hollywood knew he was reading the books, they'd blackball him.
Oh, gotcha. Yeah.
That's how bad it is. And so, like, I'm gonna have him on my podcast, but not his face.
Right.
I'm just gonna have his voice on the podcast.
You gotta get Sean Connery.
Well, it would have been nice.
Yeah. we can do it. I mean, through the
AI,
modern marvels.
I guess through AI, yeah. If Tupac can still put out albums, I guess
He's the best rapper alive.
I guess Sean Connery could narrate books.
That's right. Tupac's put out more albums.
More albums than since he's been dead than he'd ever put out alive.
Yep.
Now, this is a great event this weekend, man.
Thank you.
We do.
That's Nicole.
We do a lot of these events, and what you do here is so much different. Like it really feels.
What do you think? Because I haven't been to other events. What do you think the difference is?
This felt more like a group of friends getting together.
It is,
and not other promoters. They got to make money. They've rented a venue and they've got other expenses. So I get it. So for them, it's strictly about revenue and can I not lose my ass on this.
So for
So
me,
you owning this facility
Yeah.
and this being yours, you don't have that headache.
I'm not trying to sell you anything.
Yeah.
Like
yeah.
if you want to buy some stuff, we have plenty of stuff.
Yeah.
But I would much rather grow your business or get you to start a business, right? So that you're more freedom. I look at it as Atlas Shrugged.
Yeah.
We're going over here, and you motherfuckers can do whatever you want to do over here, but we're not playing your reindeer games.
Right.
We
Yep.
don't need you. I don't even need to know what you're doing.
Yeah. Yep. Just like the laws of nature. You stay over there and do what you want to do, and I
we
won't
won't
bother
need you over here.
And I'll stay over here, and I won't, and do what I want to do, and you don't bother me.
That's right.
And as long as we can do that, we'll be fine.
That's right.
Live however you want to live over there. I don't give a crap, but let me do the same.
Yeah.
And that's the problem is we have one side of the country that's saying that live how you want to live. We don't care, and the other side saying, well, we're going to make you care, and you're going to.
Yeah, those little pockets, man. You might find out you starved to death.
Yeah, because they're going to force you to get involved, and that's the mistake they're making is that
Yeah.
when they make all these dudes that are sitting on the couch that
What's the
don't want to
movie
get
say?
involved,
What kind of American are
what
you?
kind of American? When they make that kind of American get up off the couch and get involved, it's going to be a bad
That comes
day.
out today, doesn't it?
Oh, is it today?
I thought it's the.
We got to go see that this week.
Yeah, I thought it's the eclipse day.
Oh, they line that up for Eclipse Day too, because I know they bumped the release
Well,
forward.
I think they scheduled the eclipse for the same day.
Oh, they might have scheduled the eclipse. That's true.
I think that's the deal.
Scheduled the eclipse.
So they're currently scheduling. You might not be aware. They have said that bird flu has crossed into milk cattle now, and the big push that they've been really stirring up for the last few days. We're gonna have to shut down all these raw milk producers because we gotta cut you off.
Always got to have it because well, what's his name?
Gilly Bates.
No, the creepy fucker from the WEF.
Schwab.
Schwab came out.
Schwab.
Klaus Schwab. Yes, he's decided that we no longer need private gardens because they're inefficient.
There was motherfuckers in. There's I think it's an FDA or an ag website, and there's dudes in Nashville registering their gardens on there, or somebody's writing it. Who knows if it's really real?
Well, the fact that they say, well, you can't do this because it's less efficient than industrial farming. Well, at the same time, they want to end industrial farming too because it's
Sounds like Holodomor.
So what? You want to end private gardens because they don't pollute enough? Is that the problem?
What they mean is you pesky eaters are in our way.
What they mean is we want you to eat the bugs.
We want you to starve to death.
We want you to eat the bugs.
Yeah.
Soylent Green for everyone.
Yeah, all those camps they are setting up.
Yeah.
That's for labor.
Soylent Green or what was the train one where they were eating the roaches?
Snowpiercer.
Cricket
Loaf.
Cricket Love, yeah. There
Cricket
you go.
Loaf, yep.
Yep. And they're already sneaking it in. If you start looking at ingredients, you're starting to
Oh, man,
find
if
it
you take the
everywhere.
iconic brands you grew up with as a child, Walmart, right?
Yep.
As the devil. Walk into Walmart.
Yeah.
Pick up something that you recognize through your life, and you're going to see some words that you don't recognize.
Yeah.
And when you look, they don't say bug protein,
No, they
right?
don't.
They say all kinds of other shit on them.
Yep.
And they're in there right now.
Yep.
Right
they
now.
Sure are.
Does a fucking Oreo taste anything like you remember an Oreo taste?
No.
Or the cereals we had as kids.
Yeah.
And they push that and promote that, and they want you. I mean, it's the whole. Those are slaves. That's slave food. That is peasant food.
Yeah.
And that's why that food pyramid that they've put out is like that. It's for the commodities.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, they want to keep the higher quality food for themselves. And the peons can eat just enough to keep them as workers, just like was done in countless societies in the past. The warrior class always got more and higher quality food. They got meat, whereas the peasants were fed vegetables.
Yeah, the gamekeeper, you were not allowed to hunt the deer.
Yeah,
they had a dude that killed people hunting
the
deer.
Sheriff.
Yep.
Yeah, he was the sheriff. But yeah, and that's the world they want to go back to. They want two classes. They want the elite, and then they want the servant class.
You saw it in Europe during World War II, right? We're no longer going to grow cereal crops to feed protein. We're going to kill all the protein, and you're going to grow cereal crops and eat the cereal crops.
Mm-hmm.
And then you could have a pig share, and then you would have to have law enforcement present. You'd have multiple families feed this pig and raise this pig. But when he was present, law enforcement had to be present and took 50% of the meat and all of the fat because they rendered the tallow to make explosives with.
Yeah. Really?
Mm-hmm.
Wow.
Yep. For the war effort.
They took 50% of the meat.
50% had to go. Yeah. So it's interesting when Nicole was talking about Bosnia and Herzegovina and all that. They call them phantom herds. So a veterinarian could certify an animal dead. So he would pass. So it's the gray market, it's the underground.
Yeah.
So they would have these animals that weren't on the books.
Right. This one's is dead, but
Yeah,
yet it's in the back pasture over yonder.
That's right.
So we can sell this pig and make some money.
Yeah, so like when I had heard that, I was thinking, so if they couldn't have tallow, how are they having fat, right? Because you always, every time you mention rabbit, somebody's like, you're going to starve from rabbit starvation. Does anybody walking around look like they're starving?
Yeah.
So what would we do for oils and fats? And I came up, like peanuts would probably be the easiest to do if you needed to get a fat crop.
Yeah, peanuts, olives, depending on where you live. Like down in Florida, we can run olives. Because that's fat and carbohydrates. They're the two most difficult things to come up with in nature.
Yeah.
So the fats is the big problem. Carbohydrates you can sometimes swing easier, but fat's the big one. You know,
Carbohydrates are the easiest to store.
easy, yes, and fat's the most difficult to store. So, but pigs, yeah, that's your fat source.
Yep.
Pigs, render it down and strain it out, and then it's storable. Now it's shelf stable. It'll
Sure.
sit there. But you got to have that infrastructure. And, you know, and so many people talk about in the prepper community, oh, I've stored this much food, and I've stored, you know, I've got 5 years worth of food. That's great. That's great. What are you going to eat on the day one of year 6?
I want to try some of that shit.
You know? Yeah, well, you might want to try some of that shit, yeah. Because I was walking by the tent yesterday, and they were talking about eating MREs, and like if someone just bought up a store of MREs, and they're like, how do you think you'd feel? And I'm like, miserable, as I was walking past, you know. Live on a diet of those things.
I lived, when I rolled up to my shop the first time, I stayed there 90 days and ate nothing but MREs for 90 days.
Ooh.
Yeah. I put on about 25 pounds.
Oh, I bet.
Didn't leave the building. Had no running water in the building.
Oh, my God.
Yeah.
Wow. That was rough.
Makes everything else look easy, though.
Yeah, it does. Yeah.
Yeah.
And that explains all the Porta Johns.
Here. Yeah, we got composting toilets for in case.
Yeah, absolutely.
Yep.
Yeah, we on my buddy's place, we dug pits and actually built outhouses on them, and the whole thing, like nice ones.
Yeah.
On skids that can be drug.
Yeah.
And we had a buddy of ours come out with a skid steer, and he had a 24-inch auger on it, and we just went around popping holes in the ground.
Ooh, that's a good idea. Yeah, we've got the composting toilets on the outhouses that are on skids. We can move them with the skid steers.
Yeah, we use that big auger and just pop the hole, then drag it over the top of it, and you're good to go. And you just put them in a line, and that way you can come through there later. And
that's a good idea.
Move them.
Yeah.
Down the line and fill back to the other
Yeah,
one.
we use a smaller auger for planting trees.
Yep.
Yeah, we could definitely get a larger one.
Yeah, get a big one. Just bump, and now you got a.
So, are you a prepper?
Oh yeah.
Were you a prepper and wrote the book from that, or did you become more of a prepper after the book?
Not really. You know, it's always like an evolution prepping, right? You start out with this stuff, and then you see new things, and your kit, your gear, and the things you're utilizing is always evolving, and you end up with this massive pile of stuff back here stored somewhere.
You can see it walking the door.
walk around here, it's everywhere. You know, and so I started off as primitive skills as a kid, you know, as a teenager, and even before I was a teenager, you know, rubbing sticks and smacking rocks together and doing that kind of stuff, you know, making baskets out of pine needles and, you know, and making them waterproof with pine pitch and that kind of stuff. But that evolved into like what I call modern survival, using all this cool gear and, you know, the skill sets we have and the stuff, and being ready for something to happen and not being caught unprepared. That's my biggest thing. It doesn't take much to have a little bit of stuff with you, you know, just in case something bad happens. So that's kind of my philosophy on it now. So
yeah, I'm fine not having night vision as long as everybody else doesn't.
As long as everybody else doesn't have night vision, that's right.
Yeah, if the power goes out, the tax man's not getting here.
I'm not worried about him. That's right. So
they got him with the pigs.
Yeah.
Miles up the road.
That's right. Yeah. Another good reason to have those off the book pigs.
Yeah, everybody knew where the stills were, but everybody knew where the sheriff lived.
That's right.
He wasn't going up the hill.
That's right. Same thing applies. You know, in that world, it's they always talk about the golden rule and this and that. That's never it. It's always violence. Their force is always
violence is always
the
metric.
metric.
Yeah,
because at the end of the day, that's what it all comes down to. You know, don't pay your taxes. They'll send men with guns to threaten you with violence.
Said it yesterday.
Yeah, to threaten you with violence. You know, you don't drive.
Yeah, you don't willingly go to the DMV to pay for something you already bought.
Yeah, but, you know, or your property taxes, you know, I mean, that kind of stuff. You're either going to do it or they're going to send men with guns to threaten you with violence.
Man, I really thought that enough old dudes that had nothing to lose would have already acted on. Like, I'm surprised we've seen one killdozer.
Me too. I'm surprised that there haven't been more. But especially people on the right, they're not going to get involved until...
You know why, though?
Their life is altered to the point that they don't recognize it. That's
because we have fucking businesses.
We
have families and jobs, and we do shit.
Yeah, but that's just it. The right's they're not gonna do shit until they no longer recognize, so they can't live their lives the way they're used to living until they're that fucked up and there's that much interference and things going on. That's when they'll get involved.
We're too comfortable. They won't turn the power off because the video games will stop running.
Power and the internet, the two things that they'll keep on no matter what.
Pacifier.
And they might even, you know, do some load shedding here and there, and there could be brownouts and blackouts sometimes. Because California, you see that sometimes in the summer. I can see things like that happening too. You know, and then too, if you're in a majority blue area and you're in a small red enclave, you can bet that you're going to lose power and water and utilities and services before anybody else.
Even though we have the power plants.
Even though,
we got to throttle this back.
Yeah, exactly.
California, Colorado, Texas, I think it was. They signed up for this tax credit program.
Yeah.
And were super surprised during the summer when they couldn't turn their thermostats under like 78.
Yep. No, I'm not. Like, we had the county next to us start talking about putting meters on people's water wells. And it's gonna be
there's a lot of talk of that right now.
There's like, all right, you'll get this much water for free, and then you got to start paying after that. And I sent an email to the county, my county, and I was like, send the SWAT team when you send them out to put meters on wells, because that's not happening at my house. This is my well. I have to pay for this. If the pump goes out, are you going to come replace it? I don't think so. This is all my responsibility. And you're going to tell me I got to pay you for the privilege of taking water out of the fucking earth?
Yeah, well, that's one step from taxing for solar.
That's a hill I'll die on. I'll stand on that one. You got to say no. At some point, you just got to say no, and be committed enough to back it up.
Yeah, you hear all these power companies. We're all for solar as long as you tie that shit in.
No, they're not. Because here's the thing about solar. Again, I come from the power industry. I work for a number of power companies. Solar would actually get the job done, but they're doing it the wrong way. By going out and building these massive solar farms and just trying to add this extra voltage to the grid, that's not the way to do it.
Right.
If they would simply come out and say every new structure built must be self-sufficient for electricity through solar, wind, or whatever.
They can't build that.
But you can. It don't take that many panels, but you need to add the battery capacity.
Bill it. They can't bill it.
They can't bill it. You're right.
You don't need the transmission lines any longer.
You don't need the transmission. And power outages would cease to exist.
Absolutely.
Except for that building. He's out of power.
And it would be an individual problem when it was. It wouldn't be an
his
amplified
problem and not everybody's problem. And then hurricanes, you would have spotted. They're out. This one's out. You wouldn't lose an entire city. You wouldn't lose.
Did you see all those fields that just got wiped out from hail in Texas?
Yeah. They had.
Holy shit. Looked like all those over in Iraq where they were busting them up.
Yeah. Looked like they took shotguns to them from altitude and just destroyed them. And that is the problem. Now, you can get ones that won't do that. There's panels out there that are full.
I would suspect you could 3M them. I mean, you would lose some of the pass through, but I would suspect you could film them with that.
But they've got flexible panels that won't break. So
right, we have some inside.
Yeah, so why not just put those out? In an area where that happens.
Yeah.
So
you're not getting a Tesla?
No. I think the idea of electric cars is actually good for urban areas, but only for dense urban areas. But they need to have the capacity to charge it. Like, I just saw a video about a guy that said he was trying to stand up some kind of a facility, and they were going to have 50 electric trucks in it. And he said that the power company for the city came back to him and said, "Are you out of your mind?
We don't have the infrastructure.
We don't have the capacity. Yeah, you're wanting to use more electricity here than this city uses."
Yeah.
He's like, and the plant that these trucks are made in was like a 2 megawatt plant. That's how much electricity the plant that built the trucks consumes. But to charge those 50 trucks was something like 10 megawatts.
Right. They said that the majority of the postal service is going to go electric. And we were asking her, she's like, I own 3 cars. I'm a contractor. She goes, we might get 2 of those, but they're going to sit in a corner over there. Like, nobody's going to drive those things.
Yeah.
You're not
going to be able to keep them charged.
Yeah. Get all the solar you want. And you should have everything you want, and you should produce the electricity from the sun.
Yeah. I think that's a great way for solar car or for electric cars to be charged. Just that way. Now there's no more new load.
Correct.
You guys want to be green, then do it for real. Go.
Yeah, I could see green. Like, Polaris has put out a Ranger that's electric for 10 years.
Yeah.
Super quiet.
Yep.
And I can charge it off the movable panels.
Yep.
Yeah.
Set them right up, and you got power everywhere.
Yeah.
So, yeah, I like the small independent system ideas. That way there's no network, there's no grid. It's just each person.
But then you can't have somebody have that constriction over you to threaten to turn your shit off.
And that's what they want. See, like in Florida, you cannot have an off-grid solar home. You have to have a meter base.
California.
Whether it's hooked up or not, you're going to have a meter. And again, I came from the power industry, and I loved working for them because we're the biggest assholes on the planet. You know, oh, you don't like me? I don't care. You don't have an option. You're going to buy it from me. And that was how we treated people, you know. And so getting the idea of getting rid of them and getting rid of their lobbyists, you know, it would help everybody out.
So when everybody started selling their East Coast, West Coast homes, right, they come out here to Tennessee because you can buy a couple hundred acres and we can build our McMansion. And they were super surprised when they would get these contractors. They're like, oh, we can absolutely build that. No problem. 5 years. They're like, 5 years?
Yeah.
Yeah, we're a little busy. So everybody bought up sheds and they put them in and they were energizing them, right? And then the mobile homes said, hey, we're not selling any mobile homes. So they leaned on government. Government got to individual electric companies and said, you can't energize these without a dot number. So you can't put power. They won't drop a pole for these sheds in Tennessee.
Really?
So what's the workaround? You got to just solar kit.
Oh, I didn't know that.
Yeah.
Because, see, I've always heard how lax the building regs
It was,
are up
but
here.
it changed recently. You can do it as a shed. You cannot do it as a residence.
All right, so you...
There's no bathroom in here.
Yeah, I was going to say, you set it up as
Yeah,
a
you
shed.
do it and
you have them come
then-
drop the pole, then you build it some bitch out.
Correct.
So,
Yeah.
but yeah. And that goes... Yesterday, somebody in the crowd was asking about, like, what we can do with the way the government's behaving these days and everything. And I told them, just withdraw consent. Just that every opportunity you have to bend the rules or go around them, do so.
Yeah.
That's how you take it back.
And remain silent.
Yeah, and shoot, shovel, and shut the fuck up. That's
Yeah.
the rule of the day. Or you've ever seen the videos of those lawyers in California? Shut the fuck up Friday. It is Friday, so it's shut.
Anytime
the fuck
I
up
talk to a lawyer, I'm like, what piece of information would you give a client that's not your client
Shut
yet?
the
Shut the
fuck
fuck up. Yeah.
I've seen more people talk themselves into jail because I worked in them for like 8 years. We did the security platforms in jails and prisons, all the door controls, camera systems, water, all that stuff. And so I've spent years and years and years working in jails, and I've seen more people at booking desks talk themselves into additional charges. And I sat in a court in the security control room of a courthouse one time, and watched a dude that was fixing to be sentenced to like 7 years in prison get sentenced to like 30 years in prison because he wouldn't shut up. And his lawyer's trying to like pull him down, and because one of the officers called me, he's like, "Dude, get up here, you got to watch this." So I get up there, we're watching, and this guy's going on and on and on. And finally, this judge is like, "I'm really glad you told me all that." He's like, "'Cause I was about to sentence you to 5 years in prison." And he goes, "And that would have been a huge mistake." You can see this guy, oh, he's like, "In light of what you just told me, 30 years, whack." And I was just, you're like, oh my god.
Yeah, man. Yeah. Like the consent thing, like you were saying. They say 8 million children did not show up to public school this last year. Maybe it was year before. And so if you have a kid and you just decide you want to have a 3-day weekend with your child, right? I'm just not bringing my kid to school on Monday. Guys with guns will come to your house eventually and you will go to court, but they'll put you in jail, right? But it is as simple as, hey, my kid does not go to this school anymore. We are homeschooling. Yep. It literally is, we're just not participating in your Ranger games.
We did that. Logan, when COVID hit, we pulled her out of school because they made her quarantine like 4 times, because she supposedly had contact, and she never had contact with people. So we pulled her out of school, and she's finishing still. She's almost done now. And yeah, you just sent them a letter saying we're withdrawing our kid from the school. She's going to be homeschooled, and that's it.
Yeah.
Nothing they can say.
But had you been in the system and you just didn't take her every Monday?
Yeah. Yep. Well, we had DHS, Family Services was called out.
Because you removed her from school?
No, actually, because she went to the ER because she's a type 1 diabetic, and she went into DKA.
I think I remember hearing this.
Yeah, she went into DKA, and we took her to the ER. Now, it happened to her twice in a matter of like 2
I think I heard
weeks.
this on one of your Patreons.
Yeah, and they sent this dude out, and he told us we had this appointment. We had to go. So anyway, I ended up calling a buddy of mine who's a lawyer, and we went there. When we get there, they're like, fine, because we didn't go when they wanted us. We rearranged all that shit. And they're like, oh, well, this is all voluntary. And we're like, no one told us that. They just said, you have to be here. No one said voluntary. They're like, oh, well, there's usually some confusion. I'm like, no, I think it's done on purpose.
Okay, well, we're leaving.
And yeah, because they get you in there, and yeah, they're like, well, we want to do a forensic interview with your daughter. And that means audio and video recorded without mom and dad. And my lawyer's like, that's fine. He goes, I'll sit in with her. And they're like, well, we don't want anybody in there. He goes, because she could be coached. And he goes, well, that's not happening. And they're like, well, we just have our rules here. And he's like, so do I. And they're called the United States Constitution, and nobody will be interviewed without counsel. And they're just like, oh, okay. But he was pretty cool because he was also like, look, he goes, this is the nicest I've been to anybody in 9 months. He's like, usually I walk in a room with a bag of money in one hand and a hammer in the other. And I'm going to beat you with one or the other.
Yeah, you want it fixed, you want it broken.
Yeah, I'm going to beat you with one or the other. And we ended up walking away from them, and just nothing ever happened. You know, they called me later, a few days later, like, "Hey, we would like to." I'm like, "I'm not sending you nothing. I'm not doing nothing. You got nothing. This wasn't a crime. There was no neglect. It's an 18-year-old. Almost, she was 3 months from turning 18, and I'm like, it's an 18-year-old that's not taking care of her diabetes. That's what it is.
And they're fishing. They're just looking to build a case.
Oh yeah, because once they get you in there, they're like, "Oh well, you need parenting class, and you got to pay for all that stuff." Now none of this is required.
Yeah.
But they're going to make, and people that don't know no better, that don't know they can call a lawyer, or don't know they should talk to a lawyer before they could do something like this, you know, they're going to get stuck in there. And once you're in, you're in.
Yep. It's just like the investigators showing up at the farms.
Oh
It's
yeah.
like Joel Salatin said. He said, don't talk to them.
No.
Can we need to take a look around? Hey, I need you to send that to me in writing. I'll send it to my attorney. And I said, "Has it ever come in writing?" He goes, "No. They're looking to build a case. The supervisors don't even know they're there usually. There is no case.
Yeah, they're just out fishing.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Just looking for you to incriminate yourself."
And you know, and I'm a huge supporter of law enforcement, but the same thing goes with
Yeah,
them.
absolutely.
Same, you know, don't talk to cops. They're never there to help you. When they say it's in your best interest, no, it's not. You tell them what's in my best interest is to speak to an attorney before I talk to you. And
I like to just walk up to him and be like, "I smell marijuana. Where are you guys heading? Where have you been tonight? What are you doing? Anything that's going to stab me or that I don't need to know about?"
Stab ears, yeah.
They usually laugh.
Yeah,
They usually laugh.
I smell marijuana. Walk by.
Do I smell marijuana? Can I check your vehicle?
It'd be so funny to walk by their car, a couple of them sitting there and lean in and be like, "I smell marijuana, gentlemen. I'm going to need you to step out of the vehicle."
Or just have a dog and have it alert.
Be walking by with one of Joel's dogs and have it just sit down as you pass the car.
Yeah.
Like he's alerting and be like, oh, what's
Oh,
this?
yeah, we're going to have to check the vehicle, sir.
Gentlemen, you have to step out. We're going to walk the dog around this car.
Do you have any large sums of cash?
Guns, knives, bombs.
Anything? Yep.
That would be hilarious.
So how'd you come in contact with all these guys? Like, I assume you know most of these guys that you're writing into the books as characters now.
Some of them are direct individuals. You know, like Dalton's one dude.
Mm-hmm.
That's a buddy of mine. And a lot of the other ones are like amalgamations of people. You know,
How much do you change them if we met? So I met some characters from books, right?
Yeah.
And you're like, holy shit, that's actually that dude.
yeah. Oh, if you met Dalton and met him in real life, that's that dude. There's
Wild.
spot on.
Wild.
Spot on. And you know, and like Sarge in the books, I took a lot of inspiration from Gunny Ermey from him.
Okay.
But I stuck him in the 101st from Royal Man. So
Okay. Right.
Because that would chap Gunny's ass just to be stuck in the 101st in the Army, you know.
Mm-hmm.
So, and then the other ones, like I said, they're all just kind of amalgamations of people, you know, kind of different pieces of different folks stuck together to make interesting characters.
Cool.
Yeah, that part's fun.
Yeah.
That part's fun.
And then you just kind of plug things in and just go from there.
Just go. Like when I do the books, like I have the big ideas, you know, I have the big milestones, but that's it. And I don't even know necessarily what order that is in. It's just I gotta make a bunch of shit happen just so I can get to that point.
Are you ever writing and you're like, I can't use this right here. I'm going to put this into the next
I'll cut
book.
it and just stick it on my other monitor over here where there's another.
Do you ever start fleshing this out and start writing more of it?
Yeah,
on
I
this
have,
end and then come back?
Yeah, and then I'm like, well, I got to put that over there, but wait, I'm going to go back to this point. I'm going to move all that down. I'm going to plug it in right here.
Mm-hmm.
And so yeah, you cut them up and move them around a little bit.
Any new book series come out of like a new like you have several, right? Like the Mad Mick, came out of that other series.
There's we have one spin-off series right now called Charlie's Requiem, and we have another one I'm working on called Western Resolve, which Morgan talks to a rancher in Wyoming one time via ham radio.
Yeah.
We're telling that rancher's story.
All right.
Which is way different because he's in Wyoming, and ranch country, you know.
Harder or?
Yeah, it's good. Yeah, it's because you know, what else does Wyoming have a lot of? They got a lot of coal. They also have a lot of oil, and what does that bring?
The government's coming in.
Well, and that brings roughnecks too.
Yeah.
Which roughnecks, you know, they're pretty fond of their meth. They you know.
Okay, I didn't have that on my radar. Okay.
Oh yeah. Anybody working in those kind of fields, iron workers, and that shit. That is a preferred party favor for them.
Got it.
And so that's going to be a big part of it too.
Cool.
Like it's a thing. I mean, because we're already started. We're well into that one. It's about halfway written right now.
Awesome.
And and I'll be in Wyoming in July, where we're going to be hopefully finishing that book. And
what are you doing in Wyoming?
Going out there to finish that book, and then and then we are standing up a training facility in Montana, up in Big Fork, which is just below the Canadian border.
What's that going to look like?
I don't know yet, and I'll find out when I get there. But it's going to be a substantial facility.
Wow.
Yeah,
Awesome.
got somebody that's wanting to build it, and we got the dudes there. I got one of my buddies is moving to Montana to be there to run it, and so I'm going out there to help too. And
You moving to Montana?
no. I mean, we would. I don't have no problem with it, but Yellowstone scares the shit out of me. So
Oh, yeah.
I mean, we've lived in Wyoming twice, but Yellowstone scares the hell out of me.
We got friends in whitefish, and man, it's insane how it's just skyrocketed in the property values and stuff.
Well, like in Jackson and Wyoming, they say that the billionaires have priced the millionaires out. Now people like Harrison Ford live out there. You know, he's got that massive thousands of acres ranch out there. And
is there any TV shows you watch?
I don't really watch TV. We watch Netflix and YouTube, and that's about
Any
it.
series that you like?
We watch Reacher. We dig that one.
I've not seen a single one of them.
No, it's pretty good.
Is that Mark Greaney? Who wrote?
I don't know. I have no idea. I couldn't tell
Was
you.
that the Gray Man series?
No, it's Reacher series.
Reacher series.
Reacher
Oh, okay.
series. And it's a good show.
It's Jack Reacher, right?
Yeah, Jack Reacher. Yep.
Yeah, I don't know who wrote that.
Yep. Yeah, the old boy they got playing him in the series is fantastic. 'Cause he's this huge corn-fed cracker. You know, and when they did the movie and they put Tom Cruise in that role, I was just like, that's a bit of a reach. You know, because he's like that big.
Did you grow up reading any authors?
Oh,
Did
yeah.
you have a fan of somebody?
Well, not any author in particular, but like the wilderness adventure kind of stuff. You know, like when I was a kid, I read My Side of the Mountain. You ever read that one? Like that changed my trajectory when I was about 8 years old, man.
Yeah.
I wanted to run
Jacob
away
Herman said the same thing.
I wanted to run away from home and live in a hollowed out tree so bad I couldn't stand it.
Yeah.
Like big time. So that kind of stuff, those sort of books, Hatchet and all that sort of stuff was right up my alley.
Tom Clancy came into my shop, and I wasn't there. He met my mom, which was cool. And then all of our stuff ended on Ghost Recon 2. All of our stuff's on the back of the cover of that. I don't know if it correlates at all. Probably not.
Probably not.
But it was just kind of cool having, because everybody knows who Tom Clancy is.
Oh, yeah.
You watch the movies and stuff.
Yeah. No, he's a great writer. And it was awesome, just his story of doing that, going from an insurance salesman to being one of the top, military thriller writers in the world,
Yeah.
That's an awesome story.
And I think Greaney is the writer for all of that now. He did some ghost writing and stuff.
Yeah.
Mark, he trained out here at Attack Response, came out here. And,
Did he?
Mm-hmm. I think he's in Memphis.
Oh, no shit.
Yep.
Nice. All right.
Or he was. I don't know if he still
right.
is.
So we're trying to figure out where we're going to settle. That's why we got the camper. We're running around right now.
Does it ever surprise you the access that opens up to you?
It doesn't surprise me, but I'm always impressed by it. Like when you roll up someplace and you're a known entity and accepted into a community, that's always super nice, But that's why it's important to be out doing the stuff too.
Mm-hmm.
I don't just write about it. I do it. I train. I go out and do all the stuff, I'll be training with Carl. Carl Tactical Rifle has developed a new, battle rifle course, he's calling it. So it's, engages up to 400 meters essentially. And so I'm going to be taking that with him here soon. That sounds like a new
First time
fun.
Carl did a live, Brandel was there with the
really?
guys from Tactical Edge, my other guy that was here yesterday. And he's like, hey, you got to start doing this live stuff. Like he made like $4,000 just while I was sitting there in 30 minutes. I'm like, whatever. Maybe.
He can do that shit. I don't know how you make money off that stuff.
Yeah.
I don't make money off of none of the stuff I do except for my book sales. That's it. That's my only revenue stream.
That's your only revenue stream.
My only revenue stream. Been working on changing that, but
What do you think you how what do you what
I don't
are
know.
you
I'm
pursuing?
one thing is the TV show. Obviously, that's my retirement plan because the series is fully developed for like Amazon or Netflix.
No shit.
Oh yeah, screenplays, budgets, lookbooks, sizzle reel. Like I've got the whole package. It's already.
So we're just waiting for somebody to buy it.
Buy it or me to pull the trigger to decide to just fund it and then self-perform.
Fuck with that. What's funding it cost?
$5 million.
Holy shit.
Yeah. This isn't a low budget thing. We're not cutting corners. And I have a lot of access. So like one of my good friends and the guy that actually wrote the screenplay is named Zach Ward. He's a hell of a nice guy. And he owns a studio in LA and their studio has what's called the Impossible Machine in it. They can put you anywhere in the world on this sound stage and it looks like you're there. You've seen it and you don't even know it in a lot of movies. And but you can be anywhere.
So we're not going to Belarus anymore. We just
Go to the
right
Impossible
there.
Machine, man.
Holy shit.
Yep. And so we have that, and they've got all kinds of stuff. He's got a full studio. They rent everything from cars to whatever. And so I have that in my pocket. Like that's going to save me a fortune. Editing bays, they've got it all.
Do you want to do that, or would you rather somebody do that so you don't have to?
I would rather someone like Netflix or Amazon buy it with the intent of doing it correctly and doing it justice and not woken it up like they want to do everything. But at the same time, to raise the money and do it myself and get it done the way I want it done, and then to be able to step back and look at that when it's finished and be like, that's the right way. Yeah, that would be, I know, done that way, it'll be more successful.
What would you do after that?
Buy a real big boat and just a fucking pier.
I don't buy it.
Oh, you bet
I don't
your
think
ass.
you could do it.
Oh, watch.
I think you could buy the boat, but I don't think you could stop.
Oh, I wouldn't stop. I would just, you never know where the fuck I was.
Boat with a helicopter?
Maybe.
Who would
Definitely
play,
a Honda Jet.
Who would play Mel?
Oh,
Who would you have play Mel?
I don't know. That's a tough one. I don't pay attention to many actresses or actors. And that
Who
kind of stuff.
would play?
She's blonde with big boobs.
There you go.
Oh, and if you're going to ask who's going to play Morgan, she already knows.
Chris Pratt or Jake Gyllenhaal.
Which one? Which either one? Just those guys. Just those dudes.
Chris Pratt or Jake Gyllenhaal, either one of those two. Like, we have that kind of money. Even at $5 million, you don't have that kind of money.
Mm-hmm.
So, because it's expensive. Like, doing this is big. And, you know, we're going to film it. I'm kind of working with some politicians in Florida because they used to have a tax credit for filming in Florida, and they got rid of it. Like, Georgia has a 30% tax credit.
Is that why so much shit's done in like Atlanta and stuff?
Yeah, because if I go there and spend $1 million filming, they're going to issue me a tax credit for $300,000. That comes right back into my budget. You know, so why wouldn't I? And then there's ways to tweak this. Like, you know, to get the credit, I have to film for X amount of the film must be filmed there. So I can still sneak out to certain locations that are location specific and shoot at those, but the bulk of it has to be done up there.
So through the whole series, to film the treatment, to shop that,
yeah.
what scenes out of like which part did you pull? Like
So we started with book one, like right at the beginning, and of course, it's very hard to adapt a book to the screen directly. And Zach wrote it, and we made some changes, you know, and so there's some things in the show that are not in the books, and then there's some things in the books that didn't make it to the show. Because you just have to. You got to kill some sacred cows, you know. Stuff you really wanted to be there might not be able to be there. And but what the show's going to give people is they're going to know from the beginning, like, what Mel and the girls are going through at home, because it's a back and forth all the time between him and them. And so you get to see Mel early on jump into some pretty bad shit. Like, she steps up and handles business real fast. So, yeah. But just got to find either the investors or, you know, someone from Amazon or Netflix.
Did you, when you were developing the character Morgan, did you have somebody in mind when you were building him?
Not really. I honestly, when I started writing that, the night I started writing it, I had just come home from like I said, from Donaldsonville, Georgia, the jail up there, and I drove that very route, and was sitting there reading these other stories online, and was thinking about it, and I was like, well, what would I do if I was out? And I was like, well, fuck it, I'll just write a story about that, and just so it was kind of a thought experiment, really. Like, what would I do if I was that far from home and something happened and I had to get back? What would I do? And just kind of.
Did you have Did you have a picture of the characters in your mind, or did that kind of develop later?
Yeah, it kind of sort of comes in. Well, for like Sarge, that was Gunny Ermy in my head
Yeah.
immediately, and for like Mike, believe it or not, Mike is shit. What's his name? From BRCC. Matt Best.
Oh no,
because
shit.
I know Matt.
Yeah.
And that smart ass little character that he does, to me, that's Mike.
Mikey.
That's
Mikey. Yeah.
And that's why it's Mikey and never Mike. It's Mikey because that's a Mikey guy for sure. And so yeah, they come together like that, you know, as you built them.
I can tell you where your Thad's at. He's in Oklahoma.
In Oklahoma.
Yeah, he's with Bear.
Oh yeah, I know that dude.
Yep.
Yeah, I know him.
Yep.
Yeah.
That's him,
That's a
man.
big
When I
guy.
met him, his fucking paw swallows your hand.
He's got a huge mitt, dude.
Yeah.
Yeah, he's a big guy. And Bear's a good dude. We did a fundraiser for Caleb House out at Mount Readius last time. Raised money for them.
Yeah, there was a tornado about 90 minutes from here. So we packed up everything we could fit in the truck and took it up there to him because I wanted to see him.
Yeah.
And we briefly spoke to him and then kind of watched around for a couple of hours. And then I wanted to see if he was really him.
Mm-hmm.
And he was, 100%. I've been around him many, many, many times.
Yeah.
And it's exactly, because you have, like, and I don't know that they portray it different, but we view it different, right? We develop an opinion
Well, yeah,
of what we see.
You're watching it, and you're taking what you're seeing and you're mixing it with your own
Yeah,
personal
yeah,
bias.
yeah.
You know?
And I just wanted to know, and he's exactly.
Oh yeah.
Yeah.
Oh, Bear is Bear. There's no doubt about that.
Yeah.
He's a good dude. He's trying his hardest to do as much as he can. He's getting an impressive amount of shit done.
Doing the most.
Yeah,
Doing the most.
he really is. So
what's next for you?
we're gonna go to Blairsville. I'm gonna hang out with Alan Kay for a few days, do some stuff with him, and then we're going home. Or we might go up to Danville, Virginia. Actually, we might go there first.
What's there?
My buddy NC Scout lives up that
Okay.
way, and gotta go see him, do some stuff with him real quick, and
So-
then Mountain Readiness is the next thing in May.
And that's Spags and all the EMP Shield guys. Is that Mountain Readiness? No, they have a prepper camp. They're prepper camp.
That's not us. Yeah, prepper camp. But you said that. That just I don't like prepper camp. No, this is the one that Bob Toombs is doing in me. We put this on in
Where is it?
Harmony, North Carolina.
Okay.
Just
So what's that look like?
It's at a campground, and same big tents, vendors. We got a big tent with a stage in the middle of it. Camp on site, the whole thing. We'll have, I think there's 50 some odd vendors right now coming. I think I'd have to check with him to see where his numbers are, but Salenton's coming, and we got all kinds of folks coming.
Awesome.
Yeah, Carl's coming. He'll be there. Alan will be there. Because we're doing Kyle Hagen. Do you know him?
I don't.
You should come over just to meet him. He was a Delta guy. He was on Forged and Fire, so he's got a knife company. He kind of cornered the market when things kicked off in Ukraine. He found some very nice steel there, and he bought all of it. So he kind of quartered the market, and so everybody's having to buy it from him. But we're Alan Kay, Donnie Dunn, and myself designed a knife. It's kind of a modified kukri, and Kyle's putting that into production right now, as a matter of fact. And we're doing the reveal on it at Blade Show in June.
So you're going to Blade?
Mm-hmm.
Okay.
Yep, we'll be there for sure. Yep.
And where is Mountain Readiness take place?
In Harmony, North Carolina, which is just above Statesville. So it's right there, not far from Charlotte.
All right. So when you get home, what does that look like? How long does it take you guys to decompress, or are you just back to normal immediately?
We'll be home a week.
Yeah,
A week.
Yeah, we have a week at home before we get on the road again.
Yeah.
And it's pretty normal. Like I gotta change the starter solenoid on the mower and a couple of things like that. But
So you don't have a lot of like farm animals and shit.
no, we've been getting rid of livestock. Because we want to look around and figure out where to go. So like we just got rid of all our chickens. We got rid of all our dogs. When our youngest daughter moved out, she took the dogs, so we don't have to worry about them no more. The only thing left there is a cow and a pig, and they're self-sufficient because they're on acreage.
So what do you whittled down to as far as where you might move?
Tennessee, potentially Texas is on that list. Wyoming would be on that list. There's anywhere without a state income tax.
Okay.
Like that's a hard stop for me.
Any place in Tennessee?
No. I mean, we like this area. This area is nice. Like we've been in eastern Kentucky, did not like that.
Okay.
We were in western Kentucky. That was nicer, but I don't like Kentucky. Just the feel of it. Sometimes you're in a place like we're in Bowling Green, and I'm like, who designed the traffic flow for this city? Who the fuck designed this? They don't know what they're doing.
Man, every time we go, because we go to Chattanooga over there a lot.
I like Chattanooga.
I think it's beautiful.
I love Chattanooga.
Like I can stay entertained. Like I could not be employed and stay entertained, or not have a job, not currently, be retired.
Yeah.
And never be bored.
Never be bored in Chattanooga. No,
Yeah.
That's a nice town. We stayed there and we had a great time. We should go back. We were throwing axes. We rented an Airbnb there one time, and it was a Indian couple, husband and wife, both in the medical field. He was a doctor and stuff, and she did something else. But we became super good friends with them. Like, they owned a really nice house, and right behind it was this huge thing that we thought was an apartment building. Turns out that's their house.
Oh, nice.
But we ended up going to their house and up on the roof, dude, like rooftop bar, like on the roof, kitchen, the whole thing up there hanging out with them, and super nice folks, had a great time, And so Chattanooga, we like that. That's a fun place.
Yeah,
that's a good town.
Yeah, we always enjoy going there.
Yeah, I'll go back to that one for sure.
Awesome. So you guys heading out after, like heading home, or?
Well, we're gonna be here Wednesday. We're gonna go. There was a guy that came to the show, and he invited us over. We're gonna barbecue and hang out with him.
Oh,
Wednesday.
awesome.
Oh yeah. Whenever we're traveling, we tell everybody this is where we're gonna be. Here's where we're at. And if anybody says let's get together, we're doing it. I'll stay at your house. I don't care. You want to go out to dinner? Let's go. You want to come to the camp? We'll grill out. Let's do that. I like to meet people and hang out with them. Because if it's not for the people out there reading these books, then I got to get a real job, and that's just not really on the fucking radar no more. I can't do that. I'm ruined, man. I couldn't go back to work for nobody else.
No, yeah, especially once you're not working for somebody.
Yeah, I mean it's been 10 years that I've been not working for somebody else, and so it's not going to come back now.
So full-time writer for 10 years.
Full time, yeah.
That's fucking awesome, man.
Yeah. Yeah, I tried to quit my job when I was writing, and things were really working out well, and I tried to quit my job, and they were like, well, why don't you just go part-time? Like, give us like 20 hours a week. Just answer the phone when we call. Like, they just kept quit winning. I'm like, all right, what? It's like, keep your car, your phone. I'll keep all your stuff. Keep everything. Keep your salary. Keep it all. Just answer the phone when we call. And so I did that for like 6 months. And I finished the book I was working on, and I called my boss and said, hey, Patrick, I said, so I'm kind of bored. I'm thinking about coming back to work full-time. And he's like, oh, when do you want to do that? And I went, Monday. And he's like, okay. And that was the discussion. So I did that and went back to work for him. Worked probably another year. And then I called him one day and I said, all right, for real this time, dude. I'm really leaving. And I said, and here's why. Because you're not getting your money worth out of me right now. You're just not. I'm being honest with you.
Yeah. I'm already retired.
I'm like, I really don't I don't really fucking care no more. I'm still getting shit done for you, but I don't care, and I'm being honest with you. And he's like, all right, cool. When you leaving? And I was like, well, I'll take care of this. As soon as this is done, I'm out. He's like, all right.
Do you have any guys kind of in the industry that you really always wanted to meet? Like, who's the biggest people that you've got to meet through all of this that you wanted to?
I don't really know, to be honest.
Okay.
I'm not a fanboy type.
Yeah.
I'm really not, and there's nobody out there that meeting Gunny. I got to meet Gunny Ermy a couple of times and sit and talk with him for a while.
That's cool.
And that was super cool. And then I met old Dan. What's his name? There's a guy. He plays in all kinds of military movies. He always plays an officer. He's got like white hair now and a white mustache. Dan something, but I can't remember his name. But I went to his house in L.A. Like,
that's cool.
And his wife is like she's got her doctorate in like medieval weapons and stuff. So their house is full of armor and medieval weapons, and he's got this knife collection. Opens it up. We're looking at knives. Old KGB ballistic knives and stuff.
Mm-hmm.
Shoot the blade, knives, and that would shoot the blade. The blade, and he just had all kinds of neat stuff. But he was a cool. So I've met a lot of neat people, but I don't get starstruck. You know, I'm just that's him. He's a dick on TV, and he's a dick in real life.
Yeah.
All right, I get it.
Yeah.
Not too starstruck. I prefer meeting people like you guys that do what we do. Like Carl Erickson, Emery Morgenstern, Sue LaRue. Do you know Sue? Have you ever met Sue?
I've never met Sue.
Sue, the guy's like a legend, dude. And the stuff that he's done. Like, we did a podcast the other night, and Carl was on it. And Carl and Sue are telling the story of when they were in the Najaf, and there was an Iraqi sniper that was kind of raising hell on some SEALs, and they actually called the 5th Group snipers for help. And they went out there, and Sue went out to draw fire, running across the road 3 separate times to draw sniper fire. And it's just like, what kind of an idiot does that, you know? I mean, and I've seen a picture of him in a loincloth with like a Viking helmet on with horns, with a flaming arrow on a bow that he's shooting over the Euphrates at the Iraqis on the other side. On the other side.
Wild.
They're just nuts, and meeting these dudes and getting to hang out with them and just have fun with them, because they've all been crazy places and done crazy stuff, and they're just my kind of vibe. I just like hanging out with them and doing shit. So
that's cool, man.
And I like to shoot. I love to shoot, so that's always fun too.
How often do you get to shoot?
I got a 100-yard range in my backyard.
Nice.
So not as often as I probably should, but whenever I want to, it's right there.
I would imagine a lot of places you go, they are shooting.
Yeah. There's usually gunfire involved.
Yeah.
I mean, we keep cases of ammo on the camper just because we know we need to.
As you should.
Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah.
So.
Yep.
And the bed of the truck, and so we're good to go.
Cool.
Yeah, we keep food, everything. I mean, modularity, right? So my truck and my camper, I'm set. I'm good to go. If I got to cut that camper loose and go with my truck, we're still good. We still can go. If we got to leave that truck, we got rucks. You know what I'm saying? So
cache the gear, and we can't carry it all. Yeah.
That's it. Oh, that's what the road flares are for. If I got to walk away from my shit, it's on fire when I do. I'm not leaving it for nobody. So that's why I keep those German marine flares.
German marine flares.
They're plastic and metal. There's no paper on them. They're like practically waterproof. They're marine flares.
Okay.
And they're super good. So you unscrew the cap on the bottom and you pull it and it ignites it, and they're hot.
Interesting.
They're very hot.
Right on.
So, yeah, I just picked up like a half dozen of them the other day.
Where'd you get them?
At a show we were at, actually. I found someone there was selling them.
Nice.
So I grabbed them there because they're hard to find.
Do you ever go to gun shows anymore?
Nah, I quit doing that
It
years
seems
ago.
like
man.
we moved from, we saw them, like we were talking about that earlier, like we went to Pomona like in the heyday.
Yeah. Oh yeah.
And it was enormous. I mean,
Oh, yeah.
you couldn't see it in 3 days.
Yeah.
And then we did the entire Crossroads of the West gun show
Mhm.
circuit. Like we had a gun show every weekend that we went to.
Yeah.
And then we moved here, and James was like, let's go to the gun show. And I picture, like, you think you're in Freedom, Tennessee.
You go there and
It's like, what the fuck
there's
is
9
this?
tables.
Yeah. There's dudes with trench coats with like fake Rolexes and shit. Some shit out of a cartoon.
we were in Hinman at this show there, and it was a like a prepper show, but it was also a gun show at the same time. And so I was standing aside one day, and someone's walking around, and they're like, "I thought they said there was a gun show here too." I'm like, "That's in the parking lot," because all these dudes are standing out in the parking lot with their guns, talking and
Yeah.
trying to work deals without going inside.
Yeah,
you
every
know?
third one's a federal agent.
Yeah. Oh yeah. I was like, "Yeah, the gun show's in the parking lot."
Yeah. Yeah, we were doing gun shows when you had to buy the Waco tapes on VHS.
Oh God, yeah. Oh yeah. Well, we used to do them. We did the Orange County gun show at the Orange County Fairgrounds a lot, and that was back in the 90s, 80s, late
Orange
80s.
County in Florida.
Orange County, Florida.
Got it.
It was a huge show. I mean, it was massive. It would probably take 2 days to see everything in there, if you were going to look at it all. And they're just not as big anymore. And like you just said, then weird shit showing up. You get the crystal people in there. And
Yeah. There's always the rose gold stuff.
and
was
the
always,
Sensi people, and
Yeah.
and all that kind of stuff.
But I look at those big gun shows as, I guess, the way I look at like the World's Fair, right? I never got to see the World's Fair.
Yeah.
So you see pictures and you're like, holy shit. And then when we tell our kids about this, it's kind of the same thing.
Yeah.
It just keeps getting, architecture keeps getting dumbed down, and intelligence gets dumbed down. Like, what the fuck are we going to be, 15, 20, 30 years from now?
Well, I jokingly always say that we're de-evolving as a species because
Yeah.
we're getting fatter, dumber, slower.
Yep.
I mean, and it's by design too.
Oh, absolutely. It's by
By
design.
design.
I mean, if although the food in the grocery store has no nutrient density to it, if not complete poison.
Yeah. Oh yeah. Yep. Eat your bug-laced sawdust.
Yeah, we
and
need
you'll
you
be
to eat
happy.
this to get sick, and then we're going to give you this, right?
And
When
then we're
you-
going to sell you this.
That's right.
We
That's
want
right.
you to eat this to get sick,
And
and,
you
we're
need
going to
2
sell
more to
you
keep
this.
the first one from killing you.
You need 2 more to keep.
They say Doc Berry. I'm sure you've ran into Doc Berry and doing all the circuits and stuff, but it's the keto doc, right?
Oh,
That
yeah.
was my personal doctor for 14 years.
Oh,
He
no
wrote a
shit.
book called Lies Your Doctor Told You, and he's got a farm about 15 minutes from here. Those sheep came from his farm,
Oh, okay.
and he said, as a doctor, the pharmaceutical reps are no longer pharmacists or anything; they're just business majors.
Yeah.
And you are incentivized to push these drugs, and they lease your Tesla, they give you the vacations and everything. He said, we didn't see pharmacy reps. He said, but on the first drug that I prescribe, I don't make any money on the first drug. You make no money with the insurance. The second one, it unlocks the first one. You make a little on the first and you make some on the second, but the magic number is 3. When you prescribe 3 drugs, you are fully paid through the insurance company on 3 drugs. It's just fucking insane. And I'd not heard that. And I said that on several lives, and a bunch of people are like, yes, that is true.
So each patient, just as long as you get them on 3
3.
pills,
3 is the magic number.
but it has to be 3 pills from that pharmaceutical
I
company.
don't know the answer.
I would
to that.
assume.
Or if it's insurance, I don't know. It's like the cost. They say the cost on the cost cash price on an MRI is $900.
Yeah.
Whereas the insurance cost is $6,500. And the first thing that they do when you come into intake in an emergency room hospital is ask if you want their insurance.
Yep.
As soon as you disclose that, they cannot have a conversation with you about cash price. So, for instance, if your copay is 50%, you got to pay $3,500. Whereas if you had just said, "Hey,
said
what's the
cash?
cash price?"
Yeah.
It's $900.
Wow. Yeah, I know that the cash numbers are way different than what they charge insurance companies, which that should be criminal to start with.
My buddy Evan, he was, I don't know if he got fired or he actually quit his job, but he was doing the Radio Made Easy thing, and he hit his dad up a few months into it. He's like, "Dad, I made $120,000 this month," and he goes, "But what about insurance?" That was the question. He's like, "Dad, we have insurance." Like,
Yeah.
but he's just, it's wild, man. People are they're just programmed.
Yep. Oh yeah. Yeah. Follow the rules. Do what you're told. That's the whole reason TSA still exists.
Oh, absolutely, yeah. But we can walk right across the Mexican border.
But it's to make sure that when you go to get on a plane, that you understand where your place is. It's
Yes, to conform.
to reinforce the fact that
Yep.
their
We're-
authority, and you're going to
Yeah,
submit.
you're still taking off shoes, but
Yeah.
guys are coming across the border with guns.
Well, not only that, but Then they bring the illegals in. They bring the insurgents into the airport, and they got special lines where they don't get screened. They get to just walk through and get on a goddamn plane, and they can fly for free.
Yeah, they brought in 200-some thousand on airliners.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, they've dropped off like 300,000 between Texas and Florida. They've delivered about 300,000.
They flew them into Nashville, put them on prison buses, and just dispersed.
It's crazy, isn't it?
Yeah.
Like this is and two, what people I think they're failing to realize is the gigantic logistical monster that's behind making this happen. This isn't some, we just got these people and we're gonna have to figure out how to make this work. No, there was a machine that was built starting down south, handing out the pamphlets. Here's where you go. Here's what you ask for. Here's the words you say. Here's what you do. Here's where you go. And then once you get, now we have transportation for you. Oh, we're going to move you here. We're going to move you here.
China's building a bridge across the gap right now that they can bring tanks across.
Yeah, and they're working on the canal. Mm-hmm. And they own all that shit now. So.
Yep. And that's what they were interviewing. Sean Ryan had a dude on that was talking about that, and he says, we were interviewing these Chinese people coming across. And he says, so what's your plan? And he said, I was in the military, blah, blah, blah. And he said, so what's your plan? He says, you plan to take over the United States? He says, we don't have to take over the United States. We'll just become the United States. We will put so many people in there. He said, and when I travel, he says, I go to archaeological digs, museums, and libraries. And there's a library, I think he said it was Chile. He said there's this brand new 7-story library. It's got a China CCP flag on the roof. And he said the first 5 stories are video games and arcades. But you have to read a book for 30 minutes and take a 10 question test, and it unlocks the arcade for you. And the books that they are programming all these kids with are, you're not what you are. You are a descendant of China. That's why we look the same. We have the same pottery. We're brothers. The United States is the devil. And they're doing the same thing like to the Indian Native American population and such like that.
Well, I had been told years ago by a tribal elder. I'm not going to say the tribe or anything like that, but they said that back then, and this would have been early 90s, very late 80s, that they were being trained by the Russians to fight Whitey.
Could see that.
He basically just said, one of these days in this country, it's just going to be war against the white man. Everybody's going to get together and team up against you. So, I'm not the kind of guy I would think would make something like that up. Sure. It was interesting.
You've heard that too. Like, Mexico and Native America, there wasn't that border there.
No, there was no.
It was all,
no.
Yeah. So who do you think is going to fight with?
Yeah, exactly. Yeah. It's, I don't know. Like I said, the world today is so weird. I don't not believe anything I hear until I can vet it a little bit. But I also don't believe anything I hear.
Sure.
But so I'm always like, I don't know,
What percentage do you think Alex Jones was correct about?
A huge percentage, apparently, because he keeps
he keeps knocking them out of the park.
He keeps getting dingers.
Yeah.
I mean,
just watch The Simpsons.
Yeah, and which is terrifying.
Right.
Because I've watched The Simpsons.
So why would they telegraph that? Like, why do they like your White House is like, prepare for a cold, dark winter, why do they always telegraph the punch?
I don't know. Why are they making the big deal about the eclipse? Why? I mean, what are we, the Aztecs all of a sudden? The sun.
CERN's going to turn on. We're launching 3 rockets to get dark matter. Like, what the fuck is it? What are they doing that we're supposed to pay attention to this? What the hell's happening? Who are we invading right now?
What are they doing that they're wanting us to look so hard over here?
Yeah, what's going on that we're not paying attention to?
And because I say this too all the time, it's sad that we live in a time in a country, and actually the world, because it goes for everybody, that you can't believe anything you read, hear, really, or see, like until you can properly vet that.
Yeah.
But now, how can you properly vet it? Because we know that Google now skews results. Google won't give you the answer. They actively suppress the real answers to stuff. So think about how terrifying that is, that we live in a world now that we cannot distinguish the real from the fake, or the right from the wrong.
Yeah.
Like, the government will tell us something, and we have no way to refute that now.
Yeah, just check questions on 2 separate search engines. You'll get completely different answers.
Oh, yeah. There's one search engine. I'm going to get the name of this thing tonight. It's laying on my desk, and I use it sometimes, but it's really cool because it has a bias meter, basically. You can check a box and say, I want left bias results, and it'll give them to you. Or I want right bias results, and it'll give them to you. Or I want no bias.
Interesting.
Yeah, so it's a cool way to, like, if you've got a question about something, you can do that and just kind of click through those buttons, and see, okay,
Yeah,
so,
what's the
so
polar
these
opposite
guys
of
see
it,
it this
yeah.
way, these guys see it this way.
Yeah,
and
it
the
used to
truth
be you'd
is
watch Fox and
somewhere.
CNN. Yeah.
Yep. So that's a cool search engine,
Mm-hmm.
I like that. But I like Yandex, believe it or not.
Yandex.
I use Yandex. That's Russian. People are like, what? I'm like, yeah. Yes, they filter their results, but they filter their results differently than we do here.
Sure.
They're filtering for different
Yeah,
reasons.
it's like you used to listen to the BBC to hear the other side or on
Yeah.
shortwave, you know?
Yep.
Yeah.
Same thing, So it's always good to look at it from another angle.
Yeah, no doubt.
So, and Yandex is a good one. I like
Yandex,
that one.
I'll check it out.
Yeah, it's a good search engine.
Anything to add? Anything we missed? Anything you
No,
wanna
I don't think so,
touch
man.
on?
I had a great time. It was awesome to get up here and finally meet you, like face to face. Because
Yeah.
I mean, I've been trolling your stuff for years. And
Well,
watching
I
it.
saw Bob hit me up. He's like, "Hey, Angry American." I'm like, "I want to meet that dude."
Yeah, well, yeah. He hit me up, and we got together. We had dinner, met Joel, and Bob's a good dude. Like that's just a good dude.
He's been here many, many, many
Oh,
times.
I believe it.
Yeah.
Like he's always going too. That guy never stops, man. He's got
Yeah.
more hustles. I don't know.
Yeah, he's got a lot of irons.
I don't know
on
how he
fire.
keeps up with it, man. He's got more hustles. He knows
Yep.
what to do with.
A lot of kids.
Well, there is that.
Yep.
And all those kids have a hustle. That's one of because I like to see how people live
Mm-hmm.
when they don't know people are watching. Okay, and so like the boys, you're making holsters, you're doing this. His daughter's making macaroons. Everybody's got a hustle. He's instilling that work ethic
Mm-hmm.
and that if you work, you can make money. You do this, you get the reward. But you
Yeah, we
gotta,
did a promo with the cookies, and we sent hundreds of them out to customers.
Oh, we bought a bunch of them too.
Yeah.
I bought a holster.
They're great.
They're fantastic.
He's like, "Hey, what are you doing today?" I'm like, "What? Same thing I do everything." He's like, "I'm on the way from where? Ohio."
Yeah.
For what? Not to bring cookies down.
Oh my god.
Yeah, man.
He's awesome though.
Yes.
He's a good dude, like a genuinely good dude. I'm looking forward to Homestead Apprentice, man. How are you guys getting on that? You got your sign-ups coming in?
Yeah, and it's exponentially growing
I
faster.
imagine, yeah.
Like we should have cut it off already, but they're just still pouring in.
Really?
We're going to take 50 and whittle it down to 2 10-man teams, and that'll be over a weekend. I talked to Joel Salatin a lot when I interviewed him just to see how he sat right there,
Yeah.
how he selects his apprentices
Right.
and what the selection process was. So we're using a lot of that.
Well, that's good because that narrows your curve.
That's
a little
right.
Bit,
That's right. And we'll pull 2 10-man teams, bring them on site for 3 weeks, and then it'll be Donald Trump, you're fired. And,
You're fired.
Just get them to work, man. Teach them everything we can teach them and cram in at the same time. Fighting pistol, tourniquet, medical, chainsaw, as well as homesteading, develop a business. We're going to give them dumb little businesses.
There
It'll
you
be
go.
like, hey, you got to be the egg guy.
Yeah.
So are you going to sell them here? Are we going to sell them abroad? How are you going to hustle it? How are you going to expand it? How are you going to upsell that? What's your value add? How are we going to bring customers in? Are you just going to wait for the dude to drive and pull off the road, or are we going to tell him we're here? So we'll go over all of that stuff.
I like that. That's
Yeah.
cool, man.
Yeah,
Well, if you need help, let me know, dude.
we would love help.
Be good. It'd be a good time.
Love to have you
I'll
involved.
come up and help.
I love to have you involved.
Yeah, we'll come up here and help. Absolutely.
Badass.
Be fun, dude. Be a lot of fun, actually.
Yep, it will.
Depending on how torturous you want to be to them.
It's not Hell Week.
No, it's not Hell Week, but some of the tasks, just the physical labor involved with these guys, they're gonna be working their
You
asses
never
off.
know. You never know who's going to quit.
No, you don't.
Like you just never know. The guy, like we've had employees come in like, this guy's got it, and then all of a sudden you turn around and he's throwing the shovel down, and he's like, "Fuck this!"
Yep.
Like, what happened?
Yep.
What happened?
Well, it's like old Alan Kay says: most contests are won or lost in the mind before they're ever begun.
Mm-hmm.
So,
That's what they said about Buds, man. It's never the triathlete or the quarterback that makes it through. It's the kid that you never suspected.
yeah, it's that quiet dude that's been over there by himself the whole time
Yep.
that just ain't got no quit in him. You know?
Yeah. Jeff said they would always take the weakest of sniper school, and that was the dude in charge. They'd put him in charge and just see what happens.
Really?
Yep.
Just to see what happens.
Yep. The guy that was always always shouldn't. And then we
Just a soup
to
sandwich,
see.
just
Yeah.
to see what happens.
Yep.
This will be interesting.
Sometimes they stand up.
Oh, yeah.
Sometimes they step up.
Sometimes they do. Sometimes they need the pressure.
Yeah, you got to do 20 push-ups. I'm not looking for the dude that does 20. I'm looking for the guy that doesn't stop until he physically can't or helps the next dude.
And that's the thing. There's the guy that gets done and helps the next
Yep.
dude. The team. You know, and that mutual suffering we were talking about yesterday about how nothing builds teamship or a team like mutual suffering.
Yeah, you're not done until everyone's done.
That's right. And if we're all out here suffering, we're all out here suffering.
Yep.
You know, and because it's interesting when it happens, you get a couple different kinds of people. You get the guys that just lose their shit when they're suffering, And then you get the other dudes who are like, well, I'm not going to be the one to complain. And everybody else is walking around.
Yeah.
Everybody's miserable, but nobody's going to complain because they're not going to be the first one to bitch. So
That's right.
everybody just walks around miserable.
Yeah, once we whittle those other guys out, now we can put real time in.
That's it.
When we have guys come in, I always say, I jokingly used to say, but I guess it's kind of true now. Like, I don't need to know your name for 90 days until the other guys have given you a nickname. You're not even here yet.
Yep. That's what I tell people. If we're not fucking with you, we don't like you.
I said it yesterday. I go, man, you need to worry when I stop making fun of you, when I stop poking and prodding you.
It's like my 18-year-old nephew is moving down to stay with us for a while. He needs a place to stay, so I'm going to let him stay with us. And he's raised by a grandmother, not my mom, but his dad's mother. And his dad's passed away, and the kid didn't really know him super good. And he's never had any men in his life. Like he told me, he sent me a text one day because he was out on a range yesterday with a buddy of mine. I had a buddy of mine, put him on a range, do a little work with him. And he's like, I never got to do that with my dad. He goes, I remember watching King of the Hill where he was shooting with his son, Bobby, you know. Mm-hmm. He goes, I watched that, and it made me feel bad because I never got to do that with my dad. He's like, so I'm looking forward to doing it with you. I was like, oh, you're not going to be shooting with me. So I'm gonna throw you into the trenches. And I'm telling my buddies, I'm like, you know, treat him like everybody else. And he needs to be toughened up a little bit. Not mean, but, you know, he's never even been into the world where guys are just fucking with each other. Like, yeah, that's new to him. And I'm gonna explain it to him. Be like, look, this is you're gonna experience some different stuff.
Yeah, he didn't play sports. And
no, he was in the yacht club. Yeah. And that's the other thing. The grandmother's husband had a lot of money. The kid has a trust fund that matures when he's 21. So he's got.
So you got 3 years to build him.
I got 3 years to work on him to make sure
to fix him.
So to fix him exactly. And I legitimately I want to because I know where the kid's at, and he's super polite. Yes, sir. Yes, ma'am. He's very polite. He's got good grades. He's a really nice kid. He's also like 6'5". He's taller than hell. And so there's a solid foundation to build a solid man there, and I would like to see that happen and not something squishy.
He just has to be exposed to it, man. He has to be inoculated with it. They spend 18 years fucking these kids up and wonder why we can't fix them in 6 weeks. Yeah. That's what the apprenticeship program, that's what Homestead Apprentice started as, right? I did not plan to turn it into this. This was Bob.
No.
We talked man camp, right? We're going to do man camp because we want to take kids and teach them how to tie down loads, how to change tires, and just boil or scramble an egg. Like they've never, where's tuna come? It comes out, no, it doesn't come out of that can. Yeah. And I wanted to bring in like Chris Costa and all the dudes and have them do no gun shit.
Yeah.
Like just whatever you want to teach.
How to sharpen a knife.
Yeah, watch one, do one, teach one, and then bring it all together. Yep.
Yeah, like how to sharpen a knife.
How to start. Like I had a 32-year-old man show up here to work that drove across the United States because I'll make a 15-minute video telling you why you don't want to come work here, and they still show up.
Really?
And he couldn't light a lighter. Like literally, I'm like, he's like trying to throw I go, what are you doing? I go, look, man, look.
Like a class on how to read a tape measure. Like,
yeah,
I was when I was
half of this and a quarter of that and an eighth. Yeah, they don't know.
When I was an electrician, I was a lead guy, but I was in my 20s, you know, and I'm on a job, and they hired a new dude. And they're like, hey, we got a new helper for you. And so I meet this guy. His name was Ron. I'll never forget him. He was 42 years old. Okay. And we get to working together, and I'm giving him measurements for pipe and different stuff, and I'm noticing nothing's ever right, like ever. And so finally, I was like, Ron, I said, do you know how to read a tape measure? And he's like, well, I know them halves. My wife's teaching me them quarters. And I was like, all right, hold that thought. I'll be right back. I go over and find me a piece of drywall about a foot long, and I draw it out and label every mark on there. And I poked a hole in it and put a piece of string through it, and I walked over there and I hung it around his neck. And I said, Ron, I'm not trying to be a dick. I said, but you're going to wear that at work every day until you learn how to read a fucking tape measure.
Bet he learned pretty quick.
I said, I bet you learn in 3 days.
Yeah.
Tops. You'll know how to read a tape.
Yep.
And he did. And he was pissed. And he hated me for it. But he knew how to read a tape in 3 days.
There's just no upbringing. There's no it's just
well, this was a country dude. This was just never was his wheelhouse, I guess. He wasn't one of those kind of guys. But yeah, had to teach a dude 42 years old how to read a damn tape measure. You know? That's mind-boggling to me.
It's a different world, man. It is a different world.
Well, even like I said, sharpening a knife. You know, so many guys today won't even carry a knife, and no one knows how to sharpen a knife. Like when we worked power plants, I worked with one dude. We traveled for years together on the road, and we both were in the blades and always buying blades and messing with them. And we were known on the jobs where we were. If you had a dull knife, you bring it to one of us, and we'd sharpen it. Like, I would charge guys $5, you know. Yeah, I used to do this for free, but so many of you fuckers come now, $5, you know.
Yeah, we've seen over the years, man. We've seen guys walk in and like, hey, I'll sharpen your nut, and it's just a mobile sharpening service.
Oh, and they're fantastic. I'll take it
Yeah.
up. Yeah, go ahead and
Anytime you're at a flea market, you see
retrue that blade for me. Go ahead and get that thing trued back up, cleaned
Yep.
up nice, and then I'll take it from there. But yeah,
Yeah.
like you said, man skills. You know, they're just because they've been working so hard on this toxic masculinity, and men are horrible, and particularly white men are, you know, evil
Absolutely, yeah.
incarnate. But you don't want a man. Well, now we're starting to see that pendulum swing the other way, because now on like TikTok and places like that, you're seeing all these videos from these young girls that are going, I don't want to be a strong, independent woman no more. I want to get married. I want to be taken care of.
Trad wife.
Yeah, I want
Traditional
someone
life,
to take
yeah.
care of me. I don't want to do this by myself. This is bullshit, you know. Or that, and you're seeing, what's wrong with the men today? Why do these guys act like
Well, when your shit's on fire.
Well, but you're saying don't be men, men are men, bad, and now the women are looking around going, yeah, but we don't like this either. This squishy.
You know, I
soy boy
question
thing.
whether it's even real, right? Because it's so amplified. I
I think it's all just media doing
They
it.
take the smallest percent and make it look like that, so that you question, and they just
Well, you hit the nail on the head. I'm going to say a word that I don't know
Yeah,
if you
go ahead.
monetize, but the tranny movement thing.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, that is a tiny fraction of a minority
Yes.
of this country, but you would think it is the majority of this fucking country by the way they. So it's all media. It's programming, propaganda, and predictive programming.
You want to be a dude that looks like a chick? Be a better bitch. Remember when they had like pretend better, right?
Yeah.
Do you remember James Bond? It came out that one of those nobody knew that was a dude.
Yeah.
I don't care.
Yeah.
I don't care if we know you're gay.
Yeah.
I don't care that you're gay.
And that's what I try to when I talk to people on the left, and sometimes you can have a conversation with them. I'm like, what you people fail to realize is we don't give a shit what you want to do. We really don't. Oh, but you're doing no. We're only saying shit to you people because you're in our face screaming at us and telling us what we have to do for you to fulfill the fantasy you live in, and that's not okay. You cannot compel an individual to act on behalf of another for any fucking reason.
You have hundreds of people that come here for a common interest.
Yeah.
We don't care where they came from, who they sleep with.
Carl Erickson, tactical rifleman, has a tranny guy, girl, excuse me, whatever. Name's Erica. Was a SEAL. Was diving, got bent, bad bent, legs messed up, can't hardly walk. Thought about it and was like, well, I'm never going to be able to get a girl again, and made the flip. So we fuck with him mercilessly. And he's just one of the guys when we're together. Yeah, he's got tits and long hair, and his name's Erica, but he's still one of the guys that we fuck with, you know. And Carl fucks with him. Just God, it's just, I'm like, damn, Carl.
Yeah, just do your thing, man.
Yeah.
Nobody cares.
And no one cares. And I would do anything for Erica. Need my help? Call me today.
Mm-hmm.
Where are you at? What can I do? You know? Yeah, I got your back. Because they're not always there telling us how we need to treat them to fulfill the fantasy they want to live in.
Yeah, go where you want to go and participate in what's going on. We know you're a CrossFitter. We know you're a vegan.
Yeah.
We know you're a SEAL. Because you've told us 100 times. Like, we know. Like, just
Yeah.
what are you here? Why are you here? Are you here to tell me you're a vegan?
Yeah, well, you don't have to tell me because the Birkenstocks do.
Right. Like,
You don't have to tell me
your
you're
yellow color. We know.
You don't have to tell me you're a CrossFitter because your Ranger panties and your cross
It
trainers
says
did.
CrossFit, right? On your tattoo says CrossFit.
And the SEAL, you ain't gonna tell me because the hair does.
I didn't go to your gym. I don't care.
I don't give a shit.
Welcome.
Oh, that's too funny, man. Well, so what's next for SOE? Like, I mean, we got Homestead Apprentice coming up. You just wrapped up this deal.
We're going to do a party in July. So we're going to do like an old school party. That's music, machine guns, big deal.
Really?
Yeah.
When?
July 11, 12, or 13, somewhere around there, the weekend of that. Yeah, alumni, TAC Response alumni. I'm here because James Yeager
Yeah, I know.
was here.
Yeah, I know why you're here. James was such a good.
So they do their alumni. That's typically when we do the party. We haven't done one in years. I wanted to push all that. I wanted everybody over there, not here. So we're going to do that old school. And then Self-Reliance Festival will be again in October.
Yeah. We were supposed to go to Tactical Response once to do his alumni weekend, some survival stuff for him. And John, you know John Faulkner?
I don't know if I do.
Firearms Depot.
Okay, I know.
Big Daddy Unlimited.
Yes.
John Faulkner.
Okay.
So he runs Firearms Depot now, his own site.
I think Jody's friends with him.
And he's doing custom safe rooms and custom vaults and gun furniture and stuff. Like
Interesting.
he does a damn Red Bull machine that'll dispense ammo.
I've seen them on
Red Bulls.
I think I've seen them.
And you can open it and there's a safe inside, and it's still cold. It all still works.
That's cool.
It's really neat. He's building some crazy shit. He built one. The last time I was in there, he had this one that was in this Porsche green. It had a Porsche steering wheel for. He's building crazy stuff, dude.
Awesome.
Like he had to paint that thing. I think he said 4 times or something like that, because the paint would get the slightest little run in it, and you'd see it. So they'd have to take it down and do it again. But yeah, he's building neat stuff. But he went to tactical response and did the weekend, and he had them rucking up and moving around and doing. And some of the guys like wouldn't put their rucks on.
Really?
Yeah. Oh yeah.
So when my son was maybe 9, Russ Kalkman was around TAC Response a lot. Wetsu, We Eat This Shit Up was the name of his company. And they had come off a bunch of, there's always multiple classes going on. So my son's going to do winter survival. And you got all these grown-ass men. And we're sitting in the shop, and he goes, okay, everybody go get your kit. Let's check your kit. And everybody brings in all the, the big CFP 90 size bags, big bags, Kafarus and Mystery Ranches. And you're like, okay, come on. And he had them all walk out the fucking door, left all their kit.
Left the rucks there.
And he's like, here's your Altoids tin. And, man, we went out there maybe Saturday morning. This was Friday probably. And it's snowing, sleeting. Like my kid's 1022 was freezing shut. It was so cold. And there was fire. Everybody was warm. They had fish on sticks. They had done dug-ins and reflectors, and they didn't need any of that shit, man. The more you know, the less you have to have.
Yeah, we walked, me, Alan, John, Nikki, a couple other dudes, we all walked up on a mountain in Georgia with just the clothes on our backs. We didn't even have a knife. And they were talking about it over there because somebody brought the video up yesterday. And the mountains of North Georgia has a lot of rock in it, but it ain't good rock. And, like, we're trying to make stone tools, and so we're messing with all the different, until we found one that wouldn't just destroy itself the first time you hit it on a piece of wood.
Crumble. And
it was like, who's got the good rock? Like, I need the rock. Who's got the good rock, But we did the same thing. We had a shelter big enough to fit 5 dudes. We had a long fire, 6 foot long. We had water. We had food. We were up there. Now we're doing artsy craftsy shit around camp because we took care of everything so fast.
We're building the infrastructure.
We built the infrastructure and it was done. And now we're like, oh, well, I'm going to go down to because we found a seep coming out of a hillside and we cleaned that out and we dug a catch basin. That's where we're drinking from because it's nice and clear, let it settle. Yep. And then later we got stuff done. We're like, well, I'm going to go down and dig another one and now we'll have one to wash our hands in. So we'll drink up here. We'll wash our hands down here, just always improving, right? Always improving the quality of life in camp. And so once it was all established, now it was just making it better. And then finally we're like, all right, this is ridiculous. Like, we've got everything we need here. We've been here a couple of days. We'll call it, because we were filming it all. We filmed it all and did it as a couple of videos. And it was a lot of fun, though.
That's cool.
It was a lot of fun.
Yeah, if I have a rock, I can break a rock. Now I got 2 sharp rocks.
That's right. Yeah. Or I got 2 rocks. I just got 2. So
you come back in 30 days. There'll be a dead guy or there'll be a village.
Yeah. Yeah. Oh, yeah. Absolutely. And it's just fun, Like Alan, he likes building hide sites, and so we're going to do a video on that one day here soon.
Nice.
Because he does some fantastic. You cannot see him.
That's cool.
You cannot see him. I did one where he did it, and then the next night that night it snowed, and I went up before he came out, and I'm filming. You'd have no idea. And then he comes out, and it just looks like he appears out of the snow, man. It's crazy.
Awesome.
6'4" dude just appears out of a pile of snow. A lot of fun.
Yeah, it sounds like you have a lot of fun, man.
Yeah. And, and like you said, the more you know, the less you got to carry. It also lends a substantial amount of confidence that when you know that, well, no matter what happens, I know what to do, and I know I can perform because I've done it before.
More time doing, less time wearing.
But I've got all this cool stuff and I know I can do it without this. Well, I've got all this. Well, I'm fine.
Force multiplier.
I'm really good.
Yeah.
I've got a metal cup. Shit, I'm all right.
Yep.
I can boil water. I'm straight. And and that's one of the things. Like, people's like, if you can only have one thing, what would it be? I'd be like, a metal cup, a metal container. They're like, what? Why? I'm like, go make me one. I'll wait.
Yeah.
Go out in the woods right now and make me something I can put on a fire and boil water in.
Is that or a wooden bowl?
Yeah. And now what do you got to do? Now you're rock boiling. You ever drank rock boiled water?
No.
It's fucking awful, dude.
Not.
Crunchy. It's really crunchy. It tastes like shit. It's not something you want to drink. So that's why I like to carry a water filter, a couple of them.
What kind of filter do you prefer right now?
Right now, I like the Sweetwater pumps, personally. I'm not a straw filter guy.
Guys have forgotten all about them. All you hear is life filter, life straw. I'm like,
all right, well, here's the thing about
they
life
forgot
straw.
Catadon, NSR, Sweetwater. Like, where'd that?
Yeah, the good ones.
Yeah.
So, if you're running a life straw, unless you have containers that you can put that water into,
Are we talking like this? That's what they're talking about?
that means you've got to get
So
on
you're
your,
going to suck it all through your mouth?
you're going to have to get on your hands and knees at a water source and drink. And so when you're doing that, what are you not doing?
Well, you're prey.
You're not pulling
You're not the
security.
predator.
You're
Yeah.
not pulling. So where do predators hunt?
Yeah.
The water hole.
Yeah, Serengeti.
And so you got to go to get on your hands and knees and lower your face to the water like every other animal on the planet. Whereas if you got a pump, you can throw that thing in there and be pumping it into your container and still be looking around and pulling security. So, and I'm focused more on carrying containers. I like collapsible ones that pack down to nothing. That way when I find water, I can fill up everything I've got and get out of there real fast. Or if it's a questionable situation, and we're talking in a tactical kind of situations. If I'm just in the woods, who gives a shit? But if it's a tactical sort of thing, if I have to, I'll run down there, fill my containers, half of my containers up, and then filter that water into the clean ones.
Right,
Mark
later.
these.
Yeah, now
these are now dirty containers
Yep.
with my Sharpie back in my ruck. Same thing. So, or I can boil water and then pour boiling water in there, clean them that way, and put them back in service. So you just got to be able to think through your problems. What solutions do I have, and
Yeah.
use all your resources.
When you have to worry about that, boiling water is not the, like, you have smoke with boiling water. You have visible fire with boiling water.
Yeah.
That's a problem.
That's a real problem, and the odor too, the signature of the smoke.
Yeah.
The smell, because like or burnt cooking meat, that smell can travel 2 miles. 2 miles.
Yep, and everybody's hungry.
And everybody's hungry. So.
Yeah, same with the generator sound.
Oh yeah, or a chainsaw. That's like I've got an electric chainsaw, and people kind of poo-pooed that, and I was like,
I bought an electric lawnmower so I could mow clover quietly to feed the rabbits. Yeah,
that's right. If you take an electric chainsaw, you're out in the woods, you need to cut up a tree, you can do that, and then people for 10 miles don't know you're in the woods cutting something.
Yeah, we've got them in there.
Yeah, they're great tools.
Yeah, you need to have all the tools.
Yeah, tools for sure, especially stuff that doesn't need infrastructure to run.
That's right.
So
every time I buy I have a lot of 2-person saws. Every time I buy them, I'm like, man, I hope we never have to use this
crosscuts,
thing.
yeah, crosscut saws. Hell yeah, man, yeah.
Yep.
Get some files, keep them teeth,
Yep.
keep them teeth lined up.
Yeah. Right now, my chainsaw sharpening is put it in a bucket, put a new one on.
Yeah.
Take them to a guy.
Take them to a guy. Yeah, here's a bucket of
Yep.
of chains. Can you sharpen these
That's
for me?
right. That's right.
That's about how I do it too.
Yeah. But the day will come.
Oh yeah, you got to have the stuff. So,
Yep. Well, man, thank you for sitting down with me.
bro, thanks for having me. But like I said, it's been a fantastic weekend, and I'll tell all you guys out there, if you're ever thinking of coming to SRF, come. Trust me, you're gonna have a great time.
Thank you.
And John's gonna take care of you like nobody else does. Even for your vendors and your speakers and stuff, like you guys go above and beyond.
That's Nicole.
You guys,
Yeah, Nicole organizes that.
she did a good job.
Yeah.
She did a fantastic job.
Well, thank you, man.
That's all right. We didn't hear that. You're good. You got to have that red light on outside.
I say that all the time. We need a on air sign.
On air sign.
Yeah.
You need one out there, bro.
Yep.
It wouldn't have mattered. She'd have still come through that.
That's all right. It's all right. Man, thank you so much.
Thank you, brother. Been good. Been good time.
You too.
Been awesome.
You have music for? You have a podcast?
Yeah, we do a podcast Wednesdays. It's live on Facebook.
You have music for it?
YouTube. No, we don't do any
I'll give
music.
you some of my music. You can just
Hell
use mine.
yeah.
It says
That'd
SOE.
Do it, dude. I'll take it.
Oh, we'll do this one.
Fuck yeah, I like that.
There's another one in here that's free.
That's awesome.
Yeah.
Who did these for you?
So